The thing that I think led me to do this is that I was spending my time talking to my family and like complaining to them about, I wasn't unhappy in my job, but I was unsatisfied.
Unfulfilled.
I was unfulfilled. Yeah. I wanted something bigger and more. And I was spending my time complaining to people who could do nothing about that. And it was starting to make those relationships more difficult.
You are listening to the Beyond the Classroom podcast, a podcast for burnt-out teachers who know something's gotta give. After teaching for 14 years and feeling completely burned out for way too long, in May of 2022, I made a big decision and left the classroom. I now help burnt-out teachers like you take back balance and joy so you can wake up every day loving your life. In this podcast, we'll explore who you are beyond the classroom, whether you're considering leaving or wanting to make changes so you can fall in love with teaching again. Either way, I understand what it's like to be living a life that looks fun and cute on the outside. You know, summer's off, playing all day, off at 2 o'clock every day, but actually feels miserable and draining. I'm your host and coach, Sandy Patterson, and I'm so excited to help you step into your fullest potential and believe in that potential to make an impact on the world, not just survive each day. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Classroom podcast. I am Sandy Patterson, and like always, I am so excited that you're here today, and I'm especially excited for you to be here because we have a very special guest, a very special conversation today with a very, very near and dear friend of mine, Meredith Mira. So I invited Meredith onto the podcast to talk about making big changes in your life and what it looks like when your life doesn't take the anticipated path or when it veers off the course that you thought you were going to be on forever. So I'm super excited. I hope that you enjoy listening to this conversation as much as I enjoyed having it with Meredith. You'll hear that we talk about how you know that it's time to make a big change and time to do something different. We talk about the most difficult things about changing paths and the things that we're scared of when we do this. And then she also gives some advice about what to do if you feel like you're needing a big change, but you're not sure what to do or how to do it. So I am so excited. Like I said, I say that often, but I truly am excited for you to listen in on this conversation. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed having it with Meredith. And I can't wait to hear what you think. Hello, hello. Okay, happy Tuesday. Hope you are having a great week. I am just super excited today. Going live, love going live on Instagram, and my good friend Meredith is going to join us today, and we're going to have a little chit chat here. So let me get her on. Hi, Meredith.
Hello.
All right. You are on. We made it.
We made it. I'm turning up some volume here.
Yes, awesome. How are you today?
I am good. I am really good. I'm grateful to you for walking me through this. For anyone who's listening or joins us, this is my first Instagram Live, and Sandy is a wonderful, wonderful guide in helping me through it.
Yeah. Okay. Instagram Live can be so scary for so many reasons. But yeah, it's just one of those things. We were just talking about how you just kind of do it and you get on and you just kind of chat. This is really chill, really relaxed. But I wanted to talk with you, Meredith, because I know a lot of people, in our lives, in everybody's lives, like, we have big changes that happen, right? Things happen, things change, life is constantly evolving and flowing, and sometimes our lives don't always turn out the way that we thought they were going to. And I know that you and I we have very different stories, but also very similar stories in the sense that, you know, I was a teacher and I thought when I went to school and I got my teaching credential and I got my degree and I got a teaching job, that was basically it for me. Like, that was going to be it. I'm a teacher and then I'm done and that's it. But it turns out that's not how it worked out for many reasons. And Meredith, I know that you have a similar story. So I was hoping that you could kind of share. And I just thought it would be fun to chat about those feelings that come up, the paths that we take, and then just really that it's okay that your life doesn't take the path that you thought it was going to.
Yes, I love the topic, and I am so excited to see some people joining live. Hello.
Yes.
Welcome to this discussion. I absolutely agree. And listen, I, for 10 years, leading up to only a few months ago, was working as a career coach and advisor at Yale in the Office of Career Strategy. And it was not necessarily what I thought I was going to be doing forever, but as I moved into that role and each year goes by and you start to think, oh, I kind of know what I'm doing here. I'm pretty good at this. I've got sort of the run of things. I know where to go for what. I know what these student meetings are going to be like. I know which resources to pull. I've got this. This might be it. This is not a bad place to land.
That is called comfort, right? That's your comfort zone. That is called
comfort.
There it is.
There it is.
Yes.
Did you find also teaching to feel comfortable?
Yes, super comfortable. I think it's one of those things for me, like teaching was like, okay, you go into something or you do something, especially like go-getters like us, like we're like, okay, I'm going to get really good at this. I am going to be the best that I can be. But then you reach that peak and then you're like, okay, what's next? Like I'm comfortable now in the sense that like just like what you said, like I knew what I was doing. I know how to do this. I'm very good at it. This is fine. Like I'm comfortable here. It's not anything new, but I was also very uncomfortable and for lots of reasons. It got to a point for me where it was like you either stay in this comfortable space that's miserable or you get back into this uncomfortable space and you really try to challenge and push yourself. So that was, yes, the comfort zone. It's the reaching that peak and then going, okay,
yes.
Now what?
I think it's really interesting to hear you talk about the comfort, but also the real discomfort that was happening perhaps internally. Maybe there was, I guess the comfort's happening internally too, but that there was, it sounds like something that kind of was creeping up inside of you.
Totally. And I think I know, yes, that's exactly what it is. It's that gut feeling that you're like, I could just ignore this for a little while, but then it just keeps coming up and keeps coming up. And that's really who the people that I work with now are, like those women that have that gut feeling and they're like, I'm not going to let this go. I'm going to do something about this. Yeah, absolutely. So tell us tell me how long you were in your forever job and then what prompted you to make that big change?
Yeah. So I had been working for it was probably 6 or 7 years at Yale in the career office when I probably started having those feelings of discomfort. Like there's something more. There must be something beyond this. And I pursued what that might look like even across Yale. Is it that I need to move to a different department at the university? Is it that I need to get a managerial job within my office? Is there even a job like that exists? Which the answer at that time was no. When you work in a university environment, and I imagine it's kind of similar in teaching, there's not necessarily a lot of upward mobility. It's pretty flat. There might be 2 different levels and layers, and that's kind of it. And I think I started to question, I'm really good at engaging with students one-on-one around their careers and around their life story and around the things that they value. And I really loved that part. And it was the part that I think I was best at. And I know that because students said that. They sent people to me. You should go talk to Meredith. She talks to you about other things in your life and not only your resume and your cover letter.
Yes.
Those things are important, but it's so much more. So I was really good at that. And I started thinking, well, maybe I should apply for a managerial role. Maybe I should look across the university. I applied for a few roles even outside of the university, director of career center, things of that nature. And, I got pretty far in a couple of these application processes, but honestly, I'm not sure the kind of managerial operations piece is my strength. Yes. I think I knew that it was coming out even in the process of these interviews.
I can't imagine you in that. After knowing you now, I'm like, oh, no. No way.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think in years, let's say 7 through 10, ultimately I stayed at Yale for 10 years, I started to think about, if it's not managerial, it's not moving up, and do I just keep doing this? Do I just keep being really good at my job in the four walls of my office? And ultimately, the discomfort of just habit and status quo pushed me enough to really start looking into other jobs.
And I just want to point out and recognize you, because that in itself is not like, I would say like 95% of people who are feeling that the discomfort in that, like, well, I guess I can just stay here and keep doing this. 95% of people will just stay because it's comfortable and it's easy and it's what you know. So taking that gut feeling and like knowing that like there is something more out there for me, and then taking the leap to figure out what it is, like that's something to recognize in yourself, because that is not an easy thing to do.
Well, and it was so interesting, and thank you for that recognition and for the fact that that's what I think you and I see for many people that we both coach. The thing that was so interesting is that I was coaching students all the time on their careers and their next steps and their uncertainties and their discomforts and putting themselves out there. And all of a sudden I had to turn the camera on myself, much as we are today, and actually say, wait, I know how to do this. I know that if I'm not totally satisfied with where I am, well, where do I start? I start by talking to people, which is what I did. I started talking to people who worked in learning and development roles in industry, because I thought maybe I just need to step out of universities. I used to work in consulting when I first graduated from college. Maybe that's the place. Maybe that's where impact happens, the private sector. And so I began looking there and having conversations, and it came back time and again to people saying, well, what's the thing that's really different about you? And me thinking about that. Or they looked at my resume and they said, wow, I mean, you've literally talked to thousands of people.
Yes.
They saw that coaching was the thing.
Yeah, so they probably saw it before you even recognized it or realized it. Yes. And I have coached with you. I've been your client. You've been my coach. And you are 100% like you were born to coach people. 100%. So just throwing that out there. Also, I love how you mentioned too, like you said, I just started talking to people. Like that sounds like that was your first step. Like just starting to talk to people and see what was out there. And also asking people too, like for reflection, like what do you see in me that maybe I don't see, or what do you notice about me, or what am I really good at? Because sometimes it's hard to see within ourselves, right? But I love that. So first step is, I guess, the first step was recognizing in yourself that like something needs to change here. And then second step was just starting to talk to people. So let me ask you, was it scary?
I think the thing that became scary was, going through the steps of talking to people, starting to recognize that there was this thing called, life coaching. I mean, I was a career coach, but that there was, life coaching certification programs, and that was something I could pursue. Let's say I wanted to go into industry. Many industry positions where you're doing coaching, they require an International Coaching Federation certification. And so that's when I started looking into it. As I kept talking to people, I recognized I'm not sure that industry and private sector is really the place for me. I mean, I love working in universities, and I love the feeling that is here that is not about kind of the bottom line. So from that, I recognized, well, if I'm not getting coaching certification in order to go work in industry, well, what am I doing it for? Oh, maybe it's to launch my own coaching practice.
Yes.
And that was the part that started to feel scary.
Yeah. So what was scary about it?
So I think about the 10 years that I've been at Yale, and I didn't have to generate leads for clients. I didn't have to set up my home office. It was there for me.
Yes.
I didn't really do much on social media other than sharing pictures of my family.
Yeah.
I didn't have a brand in a way that I talked about myself. I didn't have, a picture to post of myself. I mean, the whole setup of how you build a business, I had zero concept of what that was. And I think I was pretty comfortable in thinking, I don't ever want to do that.
Yeah. But I mean, starting a business, holy cow, that's like a huge thing. And you did it even though you knew you didn't know. You didn't actually know, like, you don't have a business background. You don't have a marketing background. You don't have any of that. So I'm curious, how did you take that leap and do it anyways?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I think that when I started coach training, first of all, I think I still didn't know the half of what I, in fact, needed to be able to do to build a business.
Yes.
The coach program that you and I both went through, Inner Glow Circle, has, as you of course know, but for others, like as much of a focus on building a business as it does on building your coaching practice. And I think it was, I worked while I was doing coach training. So that was a way for me to kind of bridge the fear a little bit, where I was still working while I was doing coach training.
I'm so curious though. Most people would just be like, I don't know how to do that. I'm not doing that. I'll do something else. What was it in you that made you like, I'm doing this? Because you've done it and you've done a beautiful job at it. You've been so successful. It's
a really good question. One of the reasons that I think despite, and it was really in going through coach training that I learned what it would take to build a business. And that was the part in which I thought, oh my gosh, I still have a salary coming in. But as I made a commitment to myself that I was going to leave my job and launch this practice. And as I got closer and closer to that point, I left in June 23rd was my last day of this,
a month
literally
or two ago.
Two months ago. Yes. As I got closer and closer, that fear became real, where I thought, oh gosh, I mean, people don't just line up at your door to get coaching in the same way that they were doing there. And the thing that I think led me to do this is that I was spending my time talking to my family and like complaining to them about, I wasn't unhappy in my job, but I was unsatisfied.
Unfulfilled.
I was unfulfilled. I wanted something bigger and more. And I was spending my time complaining to people who could do nothing about that. And it was starting to make those relationships more difficult. Like, who wants to listen to their partner complain about their job?
Let me go ask my husband. I don't know. Because that's where I was too. I was in the same spot. Where it became,
is that how it was for you?
Yeah, I mean, it became for me, my tipping point was exactly when I realized that the position that I was in, my forever position, I just wasn't showing up as the person that I wanted to be at the end of the day. I wasn't the mom that I wanted to be. I wasn't the wife, the friend, the daughter, the person. Like, I just didn't like who I was at the end of the day. So similar-ish, it takes a lot of courage to just say, I know that this is supposed to be my path, but I'm just going to veer off onto this other path that I don't know exactly like how it's going to end up or where it's even going to lead. Like that takes a lot.
And one of the things that I think about, and I'm curious to hear this from you too, I am not entirely sure that I would have fully taken the leap to actually leave my job if it weren't for the fact that our coaching program has a real basis of relationships there. I mean, you and I have access to a Facebook group, and we are part of other, containers within our coaching program where we're receiving support, and you and I are engaging every day.
Yeah. And I think you're absolutely right. It's that support piece. Like, I think oftentimes, like as women and moms and, teachers and advisors, just in general, like as women, we feel like we have to do it all by ourselves. Yeah. We have to carry it ourselves. We've got to keep it under control. We've got to be very like, I've got a handle on this. I can do this. I've got it. But that's not the case at all. And you talk to anybody who's made a big change in their life, similar to the ones that we've made, or that's even started a business in their life, or that's, done things that are not the norm. They didn't do it alone. We don't do it alone. Yeah.
We don't do these things alone. And I think that if I had been alone, I wouldn't have left. I sincerely guarantee that I wouldn't. And I did speak with a former colleague of mine who had gone through a different coach training program from ours. And he, you know, I'm pretty extroverted. I gain my energy from engaging with and talking to people. You could talk to my former colleagues. I would always tell them, I love a meeting. Please don't cancel the meeting. I want the meeting, because I wanted people and I wanted to be around people. And speaking with my former colleague who had gone through coach training, and he's kind of similar, and he said, to be honest with you, Meredith, like, I'm pretty lonely right now. And he didn't have the same kind of support that I think that we've gotten through IGC. And so it does make me realize that if you're going to make a big change, and if you're going to launch something, especially on your own, launch your own thing, it will take, I mean, people talk about like it takes a village for raising children. Well, honestly, this is like a new baby that I've had. And
yes, I get it.
I need the village. I need the village of support. And so I think that's what I got through this coach training program. And without that, I wouldn't be here doing this live in any capacity right now.
I love it. So my last-ish, well, kind of is, there's so many questions that I would ask for you is, like, if you were going to give someone advice, so someone is in this position where they're like, oh, I know something has to give. I have this like feeling it's not going away. I think there might be more out there for me. What advice would you give them? So what I've heard you say is, number one, to be really honest with yourself about that feeling.
Yeah.
Number two is just to start talking to people to see, you know, what might be available, what might be out there, what the options might be. There might be something out there that you have no idea about. And then number three is surround yourself with support. Get support. You can't do it alone. You can't do anything alone. Is there anything else you would add to that list?
Yeah, I think that is beautifully put. And when I think about the talking to people piece, I think people can get stuck on that a little bit. But who should I talk to? Am I talking to somebody who can get me a job? Am I going on LinkedIn and looking up certain industry areas? And what I ask people to do, and what I did to some degree, but what I would encourage others to do, is to time yourself, give yourself 3 minutes, and write down a list of 10 people that you know in your life who are interesting people, that have interesting connections, or are like curious about things that you might go and talk to them about at some point. We want to talk to people who are idea generators and creative people. I think people struggle to get creative, especially about their own lives. Sometimes we can be a little more creative around others' lives, but in order to strategize and make steps for your future, you need a creativity component. And we can't be creative just sitting in the four walls of a room by ourselves. And so finding other people that you can call up, it can be a friend, it can be someone from childhood, it can be somebody you know from college, it can be your next door neighbor, where you might actually call them up or grab a coffee if you're close and just say, hey, I'm starting to think about next steps for myself. And I'm just, you know, curious to hear more about you, or curious to hear if you have a few ideas of where you would go, maybe you throw those out. And you'd be surprised what happens when you begin putting ideas out into the universe.
Yes.
How people will respond, who they might say, you know, you should try talking to XYZ person. Let me put you in touch. And the next thing you know, you're starting to build this tapestry of new people to connect with.
Yes. And like you said there, and when you become open to ideas that maybe you didn't even know, because it's that second perspective, that other view, that, oh yeah, that could be an option that really lights you up. So I love that advice. And I'm going to share too. Meredith, now you own your own coaching practice, Choice Points Career Coach. And that's exactly essentially what you do. And you do an amazing job at it. You help people who are at a point in their lives where they don't know exactly what is next or what to do, or they know they need a little bit of clarity. And like I said earlier, I personally, like, I've worked with you, and I know how powerful that second perspective can be. Those questions can be that you ask that really just bring to light, like, oh, and I know you played a big role in my, transition when we started our work together. I had already been out of the classroom, but I was still trying to figure out, like, how does this even look? Like, how is this supposed to work? Like, I don't know what's going on. You know, I didn't have any guidance. So
Yes.
you really helped me find that guidance and that clarity that like, it's going to be okay no matter what.
Yes. So no, thank you. I loved working with you, Sandy. And I will say that the work that I do is really about helping people who have started to gain more clarity about themselves and what they care about and value, and are beginning to realize that it doesn't really align with the things they're currently doing in their lives. So whether you're an early career, maybe you're a couple of years out of college and you did that first job because you just needed to get a job, and now you're thinking, oh my gosh, I can't, like, I'm literally counting down the hours to the end of the day, and I'm wondering when the weekend's coming, and I'm wondering when my next vacation is. Or if you're in your mid-career and you have started to feel the same things that you and I felt, this kind of dissatisfaction, or there must be something more. I hear a lot of people start to think, you know what, maybe I'm just not supposed to gain that much meaning from my job. Maybe my job can just be my job. I don't need meaning from that. I'll get meaning from some other place. And it's like they just want to give up the meaning piece. And I think that's impossible. We spend an inordinate amount of time in our jobs. To give up the meaning in your job.
You know, that is so interesting that you say that. And I can see that perspective. I can see where people would just get really complacent and be like, well, it's fine. Nobody likes their job. Like, whatever. I don't, you know, it is what it is. It pays the bills. And again, 95% of people are probably going to sit in that and live like that and be mediocre and just go through life like, you know, whatever.
Yes.
But what I found too is because, you know, I've talked over the past year to a lot of teachers about their experiences. And I think a lot of teachers are actually scared to leave because they don't want to give that piece of it up.
Yep.
So it can go both ways, right? Finding another path where you're still serving others, but that's not completely exhausting and draining you.
Yeah.
That it's possible.
And I think it's a tricky feeling. It's a tricky feeling of saying, like, am I going to have to start all over?
Yeah.
Am I going down a whole new career path? And it is something that I coach people on, which is to say there may be aspects of your job that you really loved. There may be skills that you use that you are so good at. And people usually know those things. They know at that point, if they're in their mid-career, I'm really good at this skill. And so we work together to... I help identify, you know, what are the things that you do really value? Some people are like, I don't know what I value, right? I mean, there's this idea that we know what we value, but most people don't. And so I take people through a process of getting their story and identifying their values. And then really even I do work with people on resumes and cover letters, but we use the resume in a way to not only produce a strong document, but also to kind of unpack what are the skills people have. Because people underplay themselves a lot. Oh, I just kind of helped with this. I didn't really do that.
100%. I see that all the time. All the time. People tell me, well, I can't do anything else. Like, no, no.
There's there's so many things. And I know certainly when you have worked with teachers and now teachers and others who are starting their own businesses, that's certainly a kind of profession that could feel like you're really pigeonholed. Yeah. Like there's only one thing I can do, and that's teach in a classroom.
And that's a limiting belief that a lot of people have, is that this is it. Like, I spent all this time and all this money and all this energy, and this is it for me. And
this is it for me.
This is it.
So I think that, you know, Sandy and I are actually like a nice duo here in which, you know, if you're a teacher out there or you are somebody in some kind of helping coaching profession and you think that's it, like that's the only thing I can do, I am definitely able to walk people through and say, what are your skills? Let's reorient them, repackage them for a consideration of other job pathways.
Yes, and that's with any that's just a human being, Meredith. That's not just teachers. True. That's not just coaches.
Absolutely.
That's anyone who's like, there's more out there for me. I'm just not feeling fulfilled. So then the question is, well, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it?
And I think that, you know, when I think about it, when students are in college, not that everyone went and used the career office at their colleges. I think it really has shifted to a lot more people coming in and using career offices than I think, let's say even 10 or 15 years ago. But, where's the career office for you as an adult?
Well, that's your coach. That's when you call one of us and we help walk you through it. That's your coach. Yep, you don't have to.
And I think people, exactly. I think people feel like that's it. You get support when you're in college. If you went to grad school, maybe you get it there, and then you're done. You don't get any more support. And so I would say it can't be further from the truth. We maybe even need more support at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like we had all the support was front loaded in our lives.
Yeah, or exactly. Yeah. So moral of the story is get support here, people. If you need help, there's resources out there. We've got you. So Meredith, tell everybody where we can find you, and I'll of course link your stuff in the caption maybe of this.
Yes.
I'm not even sure what it's called.
I think that seems right. So I'm on Instagram at Choice Points Career Coach.
Yes.
I produce a lot of my content on TikTok.
Meredith is a TikTok queen here.
I was a little late to Instagram, and probably also late to TikTok, but I went to TikTok first before Instagram. Yeah, so
it's all good.
I'm also on TikTok at Choice Points Career Coach. Awesome. I do have a Facebook page. I don't know that anybody goes to that anymore. So I think those are probably the two best places. And I have a website that is choicepointscoaching.com.
Cool.
And unless you type that in directly, it's still very hard to find. So,
okay, perfect. I'll link everything so people can find you. I just want to thank you, Meredith, for hopping on, for sharing. I love this. I always love our conversations, and I appreciate you so much. So,
yes.
All right, you guys, we'll see you next time. And Meredith, I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye. All right. Thank you so much for listening in and hanging until the end. I hope you enjoyed that conversation and got some little gems out of it, especially if you are one of those people that we talk about that has that gut feeling, that knows that there might be more out there and that is ready to do something about it. So I will link all of Meredith's information in the show notes. She's Meredith at Choice Points Career Coach on Instagram. You can also find her website linked in the show notes. And again, thank you for being here. Thank you for spending time with us today. And I cannot wait to hear what you think, what your thoughts are. Would love to hear from you. So until next time, take care, and I will see you at the next episode. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Beyond the Classroom. If you know something has to change and you're ready to take the next step to make it happen, whether it's in or out of the classroom, let's talk it through together. Schedule a no-obligation chat with me and we can talk through where you're stuck, how to get you unstuck, and how to keep you moving forward. Schedule your free call today by clicking the link in the show notes. I can't wait to connect with you.